Wrestling with siblings, what's up? Yeah. Right. Yeah. In the state. Yeah.
Life is a fight, so I gotta get right. Can't have my back on the ropes.
Never.
This for my sister and bro. I swear that we'll make it, that's all that we hope. Life is stone cold. Get hit with a son, that's all that she wrote. The world that we live in has made me cutthroat. I started rapping about life just to cope. Now I spit fire like Ricky Steamboat. Straight from the bottom, got so much to gain. I had to grind just to build on my name. People call me champ, I'm feeling like Dwayne. I laid it smack down, here comes the pain.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Sorry guys, we're testing out the new equipment. As you can see, those of you watching us on YouTube can actually see that we got some new equipment, so bear with us as we try to adjust to this new normality that is Wrestling with Siblings. But let's get started with the very first segment of the night, which basically was Bobby Lashley, and of course we didn't get to see everything that he wanted to talk about, but he's very upset, he's frustrated, he is not happy because last week, Brock Lesnar cost him his United States Championship against Seth Rollins.
And not only that, unlike him, we all wanted to know why Brock Lesnar attacked Bobby Lashley. That's still the big question that he hasn't answered. Why did Brock Lesnar come out and target Bobby Lashley? Why? Is it because last year's Royal Rumble he wasn't victorious? Who knows? We'll see. We still haven't finished answers from Brock Lesnar, so...
And of course, he calls him out and he's like, Brock, get out here. Give me some sort of explanation. Why did you do what you do? And Brock Lesnar comes out and he's all happy. You know, this new Brock Lesnar is super confident. He loves messing with his opponents. And so as he's coming down the ramp, Bobby Lashley doesn't even wait. And what does he do? The first thing he does is he puts him through the barricade over by the announce side.
Yeah, and to tell you one thing, to stop these two guys, it's going to take more than half the locker room. It might take two, maybe even NXT to come out and stop these two beasts, because these two guys kept going at it, and the more people came out to try to stop them, it was just impossible. And I mean, these guys are just two complete beasts, two complete animals just going at it. It's like if they were bulls.
Absolute chaos. And Brock Lesnar, we hardly ever see him in a situation where he can no longer get up. He was put through the announce table. That is absolutely crazy. And of course, Bobby Lashley is upset, and rightfully so. I would be too if out of nowhere we just randomly had somebody like Brock Lesnar come up and interrupt my match and completely just destroy everything that I worked for over the last 6 months.
I think Brock Lesnar has finally met his match. After being the beast for so many years, facing the Almighty is going to be one of the biggest challenges he has ever faced in this company.
This then led to the confirmation of Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel. Very, very interesting. This is the second time we're going to see this match. I don't know, man, but I think Bobby Lashley might actually beat Brock Lesnar this time around. I think he has more of motives and more of a motivation to be able to do so this time around.
I think he's more hungry. I think if he wants to prove who was the most dominant person in, or the most dominant WWE superstar of all times, the one person to beat and to make a statement against is Brock Lesnar, and Bobby Lashley's hungry, so we'll see where that leads up to.
100% agree with you on that one. Now let's move on to the OC versus Alpha Academy. This is a fantastic match right off the bat. Gallows and Anderson are back home with AJ Styles.
And what a great way to return that and face someone like the Alpha Academy, who has been up there in the tag team division, and they've been trying to make a statement. So they were going to face a very, very good team in Otis and Alpha. We kind of doubted this team at the beginning when they first started, but look, they've been doing great things. Yeah, they haven't been champions yet, but hey, you know what? Each time they're a step closer to reaching their goal.
I think they impressed the OC, and I think the OC wasn't prepared for the well-oiled machine that now is Otis and Gable. I don't think they were prepared for that type of tag team that they actually got. And when it comes to the experience, obviously the OC was right on top of there. But again, when it comes to outsmarting your opponents, Gable and Otis would always find a way. And of course, the OC had AJ Styles in their corner to help them out. And at the end of the day, the experience always plays a factor. I
have to agree with you 100%. I think they were very impressed with the talent that's in the WWE and with the tag team division. 100% that the experience was a huge factor in this. They waited for the perfect opportunity, and they did the 2-on-1 situation against Chad Gable, and you know what? That's how they were able to win their match. Hey, what a great comeback from the OC. Let's see what's in store for them. You know, I think it's gonna be a while till we see them in the title picture. I think they're just gonna, you know, have AJ's back for whatever.
Could they possibly be the ones that finally take down the Usos?
I don't know. It could possibly be. I think this is a great tag team. They're gonna do great things, but I think first thing is first. They gotta take care of business, and what I mean by that is they're gonna want to go and take down the Judgment Day. If anybody could do it, it's gonna be these guys.
I don't know, man. If Edge couldn't do it and Mysterio couldn't do it, I don't know, man. But it's going to be tough for sure to see if these guys are actually the ones that can take down the Judgment Day. And speaking of the Judgment Day, they come out and they interrupt the celebration that Gallows and Anderson are having. And Finn Balor is like, oh, too sweet this, too sweet that. And I think part of him kind of feels betrayed because he was a part of the Two-Seat Clan. You know, he was there for AJ Styles and he was part of that group, and I think now he just feels betrayed because they want nothing to do with him. Now they're going up against him, and I feel like he feels that pressure from the OC and AJ Styles.
He pretty much said he's the one that helped create the group, and because of him they're there, which, you know, I'm not going to disagree, but I think Finn Balor was trying to recruit a huge piece to the Judgment Day, and that's AJ Styles. He knew that if he recruited AJ Styles, they were going to be unstoppable. And what does AJ do? He plays a fast one on Finn Balor. He knew that by bringing back the OC, he was going to get back at Finn Balor and be like, you know what, this is something that you created, and we're here to stop you. So let's see how that plays out as well, too.
And AJ Styles throwing shots at Dominic Mysterio. He calls him a brat. He calls him entitled, spoiled, and he's like, you know what, Ray couldn't do it, so I'm going to teach you a lesson out here today. And he's like, let's do it tonight. And Dominic's like, no, I'm not going to do this match tonight. And at the end of the day, he pushes Dominic's buttons and he accepts. I think if there's somebody to prove yourself against, this is the guy to do it with. If you could get a clean win over AJ Styles, you're somewhat on his level, or you're somewhat doing something right if you can take down AJ Styles.
What a great way to test yourself in, to do it against the phenomenal one AJ Styles. He has faced numbers of superstars all around the world. And I agree with you on that. If he beats AJ Styles, it's a huge, huge win. But I also understand if Dominic doesn't want to face AJ Styles. Okay, that's completely understandable. If he probably doesn't feel that he's ready. But again, I would take up the opportunity if I were him. You know what? What better way to do it than against AJ Styles? Even if you take a loss, it's a great experience. And you know what? There's a match that you can fall back on in the past and be like, you know what? I need to work on this, and I need to work on certain things.
He's going to learn a lot from AJ Styles, and I hope he's paying attention because this is going to help him in the future. As you said, let's move on to our new United States champion, Seth Rollins. He comes out, and obviously he's extremely fired up, and he's like, for those who believed in me and sing my song. This is for basically anybody that's ever supported him. And we know kind of the journey that Seth has had over the last couple years. It's been a while since he's held a championship, and obviously he feels like he can carry this division and hold that standard. And as he's celebrating Mustafa Ali, he interrupts and he's kind of like, you know what? You're forgetting the most important part. You're forgetting to shout out Brock Lesnar, who, by the way, is the reason why you're even the United States champion right now.
Yeah, I agree with Mustafa Ali. He pretty much hit the nail on the head. If it wasn't pretty much for Brock Lesnar, I don't think Seth Rollins would have been champion. Would he been able to defeat Bobby Lashley? Probably down the road, but just not that particular night, because Bobby Lashley was focused and he was going to throw hands on Seth Rollins regardless.
100% agree with you on that one. And obviously Mustafa's pushing Seth's buttons and he's like, hey, you know, I want a match. I want to be the number one contender. And Seth is like, you got to go to the back of the line, buddy. Like, you don't just come up here and cut everybody else and expect to get a championship match. He's not just going to hand it to him. And Mustafa obviously proving to Seth Rollins why he should be the next number one contender.
I don't blame Mustafa Ali. I mean, he's trying to look for his opportunity. If you don't create your opportunity, then who else is going to give you that opportunity? And what better way to do it than against Seth Rollins? You know, he was trying to get under Seth Rollins' skin and be like, you know what? You got to be a fighting champion like everybody else too. So give me that opportunity.
100% agree with you on that one. Let's move on to Dakota Kai and Io Sky versus Candice LeRae and Bianca Belair. This has been quite an interesting feud over the last couple of weeks, and you have to keep in mind Bianca Belair had to find a new partner basically since Asuka and Alexa Bliss got taken out by Damage Control, and I think one by one Damage Control is going to start to get rid of them, and Bianca's going to need some serious backup.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. They're gonna try to take over the entire Raw Women's division, and why not the entire tag team division as well too. And I think week by week, Damage Control is showing why they are the most dominant women's tag team right now in the business right now. And I don't blame them. And tonight was a perfect example. I mean, look at what Bayley did. She knew that if she went up and got the candlestick, that Bianca was gonna react, and it was gonna cause a distraction. And sure enough, what did she do? Dakota Kai and Io Sky take a perfect opportunity of that distraction and the advantage to do a 2-on-1 situation and end up getting up the pinfall. It's stuff like that that Bayley's team is doing so good that is putting them at the top of the business.
100% agree with you on that one. And you can't underestimate the team of Candice LeRae and Bianca Belair. She is teaming with the Raw Women's Champion at the time. She is giving herself the best tag team partner she could possibly have, and of course she's going to have to find more backup than Candice LeRae, because right now I agree, I think the most executed perfect tag team right now, and it proves why they're the tag team champions, is obviously Dakota Kai and Io Sky, and they completely outsmarted Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae going into this match. And I think having Bayley as a mentor has really helped the two of them out. And I think going forward, this is a team you have to worry about. I don't see any women's tag team right now that can take them down.
And not only that, Bayley has done one thing that no other competitor has been able to do, and that's getting Bianca Belair's head. And it shows that this was a perfect example of the strategy that Bayley came out and planned. It worked out perfectly. So, does she have a number on her? Yeah. Was she unlucky at Extreme Rules? She was, but hey, you know what? I think if she gets another opportunity at the Women's Raw Championship, she will definitely come out successful.
I 100% agree. I think I can see Bianca Belair losing the Raw Women's Championship to somebody like Bayley, and of course she has Damage Control to her advantage. So until there's another competitor that's willing to step up to the way Bayley has over the last couple of weeks, I really don't see anybody else taking that championship from Bianca Belair. Let's move on to JBL. The Hall of Famer is back, and he is back to introduce none other than Baron Corbin. I'm so glad he's finally back as Baron Corbin. I give him props, though, because for every single gimmick that they gave him, whether it was King Corbin, whether it was Happy Corbin, no matter what they gave him, he was absolutely successful, and he knocked it out of the park every single time with every character change that they gave him.
Definitely killed it with every gimmick that he got. And not only that, I'm excited for this with JBL. I think JBL is going to do great things with them. So definitely excited for Baron Corbin and JBL partnering them together. I think it was a great idea. I think JBL is going to take him to that title opportunity. Baron Corbin has been there kind of floating around, and I think this is what he needed in his career. It showed in tonight's match. He was aggressive. He was focused. He knew what he was doing, and not only that, he was hungry. He is hungry for gold, and I think Baron Corbin is going to do great things with JBL. I see a lot of similarities between both of them. What? They're both arrogant. They're both cocky. They both think they're on top of the world. Hey, and you know what? JBL sees the potential in him, and I think JBL is going to do great things. Like he said, he's invested a lot of time and a lot of money into Baron Corbin.
I've said this for years. You could go back to the very first episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Baron Corbin is a star, and I think this is his moment, and I think partnering him with JBL was the best thing that could happen to him. JBL is going to take him to a whole nother level, and like Armando said, they have a whole lot of similarities, and having a Hall of Famer like JBL be that mentor that he needs to take him to the WWE Gold, I think this is going to be very, very beneficial for Baron Corbin. And of course, today he faced none other than Dolph Ziggler, and he proved himself against him. He beat him clean. And you know, Dolph Ziggler, no matter who you put him with, he is going to deliver, and that's exactly what he did tonight with Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin showing himself that not only is he better than Dolph Ziggler, in the words of Baron Corbin, but he's showing what he can do inside of the ring, in and out.
Not only did he beat Dolph Ziggler, one of the greatest competitors that the WWE has, he beat a Money in the Bank winner. He beat a WWE champion. So what better way to get back in the map than beating someone like Dolph Ziggler and what he has accomplished in the WWE. So it's a huge win for Baron Corbin.
And also, keep in mind, yes, he's beaten champions, but the best of them all is he retired Kurt Angle. And I think that's one of the biggest accolades. Not everybody can say that. And at the end of the day, he is Baron Corbin. And I think if I were Roman Reigns, I'd watch my back, because this guy is probably coming for you. And not only that, Seth Rollins. He's probably going to go for the United States Championship. So Seth, if I were you, I'd be very, very careful with somebody like Baron Corbin, especially now that he has JBL by his side.
I think we just need to be patient with Baron Corbin, and I think he's going to bring out his entire potential within the next year or two.
Let's move on to AJ Styles versus Dominic. I think this match was pretty great. You know, it wasn't a 5-star match, but I 100% believe that it was a really good match, especially for Dominic. I think he really proved himself in what he can do inside of the ring. And like we said earlier, if you want to prove yourself, none other better than AJ Styles to do that.
And I think this was a different AJ Styles that walked into this match. Why? Because he wanted to get his hands on Dominic, and he wanted to teach him a lesson and some respect to pretty much the older people like his father and stuff like that. Because look at what Dominic has done. He has disrespected his dad, and AJ Styles was trying to teach him a lesson. And we saw that throughout the match. He kept on giving him chops. He kept on taking his time. I'm not saying that he was making fun of him or taunting him, but he was trying to teach him a lesson. And not only that, he had to keep an eye on the Judgment Day, because he knew at any moment throughout the match they were going to get involved.
But can you really blame him, though? You can't, because if you look at everything that the Judgment Day put Dominic through, you can't really blame Dominic for doing the things that he's done, not only to his father, but to everybody else in the roster. Obviously, he joined Judgment Day to protect himself and maybe even protect Rey, but I feel like he got invested in, he liked the power, and he liked the way that it felt to be in control and to have that protection in the Judgment Day, and so he just went along with it, you know. But I think you're right. I think this was a completely different AJ Styles, and we got to see a completely new side of Dominic as well. And of course, I think he went in a little more confident than he should have. Why? Because he had the Judgment Day there. And again, when it comes to the experience, AJ Styles way ahead of his league. Way ahead of his league. But at the end of the day, what did Dominic do? He outsmarted AJ Styles, and he got the win. Yeah,
he took advantage of the opportunity that was created by Rhea. Again, Rhea Ripley has been the difference maker ever since the Judgment Day was created. Once she was added to this team, the Judgment Day has been on another level. If you could take down Rhea, you're going to take down the Judgment Day. And perfect example, Dominic took advantage of that distraction, did a roll-up, 1, 2, 3, pinned AJ Styles, and it's a huge win for Dominic. Probably his biggest win in his WWE career yet so far.
100% agree with you on that one. If I were Dominic, I'd take this win and I'd run with it, buddy, because this is your biggest win thus far. Now let's move on to one of the most interesting feuds we've had in the WWE in a while. The Miz versus Dexter Lumis. We still don't know what happened to The Miz while he was kidnapped by Dexter Lumis. But again, the stakes were very high in this match, because if The Miz lost, Dexter Lumis was going to get a WWE contract and be signed officially to the WWE. However, if Miz won, Dexter Lumis was going to have to disappear.
And as Dexter Lumis was coming out, what does The Miz do? He decides to come out and attack him with the chair brutally, and he completely takes him out of the match. So the match never ended up happening. So let's see if this gets rescheduled for next week, or let's see what the situation is. There was only one thing that was interesting. Gargano does tell The Miz, you know what, you got to tell the truth. And if you tell the truth, Dexter Lumis will leave you alone. So I wonder what the truth is. Anybody know? If you guys know, let us know. Comment, email us, let us know. We want to know what you guys think that the truth is that The Miz hasn't told about Dexter Lumis.
100% agree with you on that one. That for sure is an interesting fact that we didn't know before. Keep in mind, all we have heard before is we have heard The Miz story. We haven't heard anything about Dexter Lumis. He hasn't spoken. He hasn't said a single thing. We don't even know why the guy even targeted The Miz, but it looks like Gargano does, which leads me to believe, has Gargano been in on it with Dexter Lumis this entire time? Or what does he know that we don't know? Because if he tells him, hey, you need to tell the truth and Dexter will leave you alone, what truth is he talking about? As Armando said, please let us know in the comments below. Email us, text us, tweet us, Instagram us, whichever one works for you. Let us know. But I think it was a brilliant strategy by The Miz to take down Dexter Lumis, because he avoided boy situations. Maybe he knew he couldn't beat Dexter Lumis, so he was like, you know what, if there's no match, I don't have to deal with that guy. Yes, maybe he'll keep coming back week again. But at the end of the day, he didn't really give him a contract, so it was beneficial for Miz.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens and what this feud leads up to.
The return of Elias. Very, very interesting.
My boy finally back, and not only that, we were finally get to see him perform ever since he pretty much was gone. His brother Ezekiel was there, and...
But, as always, he never really ever gets to perform because somebody has to always interrupt poor Elias. This time around, it is Riddle. And of course, we were going to get a performance between the two of these, and it gets interrupted again.
Yeah, but not only that, I wasn't too mad about Riddle interrupting White because he actually came out with the bongos, and he actually wanted to have a duet with Elias, so I can't complain about that one. But then again, you know what? Here comes Seth, and he decides to interrupt Elias for the second time in a row. So what does Elias do? Elias decides to stick around for the match between Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle for the WWE United States Championship.
Yeah, he had no business in being out there during this match. It's not like he's going to go for the championship. However, we don't know. Seth Rollins now has a target in his back. And of course, after they got interrupted, this led to Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins. I really hope this is the end of this feud because I have had it with these two. Don't get me wrong. They have had the most fantastic matches we've seen in the last couple of months. But I think it's time for them to move on. I want to see fresh new blood. I want to see new feuds. I want to see new competitors. And I for sure would love to see Seth Rollins versus Elias.
I don't think this is going to be the end of this feud. I think we're going to continue to see it for a couple more weeks, maybe a couple more pay-per-views. But again, Matt Riddle walks into this match with a huge advantage. Why? Because he had already defeated Seth Rollins in the fight pit. So it was a huge motivation to walk in to this match for Matt Riddle.
Oh yeah, I think he walked in extremely confident. I think he's like, you know what? I already beat Seth Rollins once. I can 100% do it again. And I think Seth walked in with the mentality, I am the champion. He's not going to beat me. There's no way he is going to beat me in this match. And of course, I mean, knowing somebody like Seth Rollins, he's always super arrogant, super extra confident. But at the end of the day, he gets the job done.
Not only that, he walked in with the champion's advantage. See, knowing that Riddle had to submit him or via pinfall in order for win. But what does Seth Rollins do? Again, this is why Seth Rollins is where he's at and why he is the architect and the visionary. What does he do during the match? He notices that Elias is out there watching the match, so he starts picking on Elias. He kind of like pushes him and super kicks him and stuff like that, and is taunting him, you know what, hit me, because he knows if Elias hits him, he's going to get the win via disqualification.
Oh yeah, 100%. Seth Rollins, every single match he has is extremely calculated. He knows what he's doing 100% of the time, and he was like, you know what, this is the easiest way for me to win, and guess what, I don't really have to deal with Riddle if I push Elias buttons to the point where he causes a disqualification.
Yep, and sure enough, that's exactly what he did. Elias decides to interfere because Seth Rollins super kicked him, and Elias didn't take that very well. So what does he do? He decides to interfere in the match. He kind of pushes Riddle off a little bit to the side. You know, he gets thrown off the ring, and what does Seth Rollins do? Roll up 1, 2, 3, steals the win, and that's the end of the story for this match. Again, Seth Rollins taking advantage of the distraction that he created with Elias.
You know Seth Rollins, anytime there's an opportunity to capitalize, anytime there's an opportunity to win, what is he going to do? He's going to capitalize on it and take it. And that's exactly what he did. And this is exactly why he is the United States champion. He took advantage of the opportunity when Brock Lesnar came out. And guess what? Now he's a United States champion. And I don't know. I don't think there's anybody right now on that roster that will take it from Seth Rollins. At least right now. Maybe Gargano later down the road. Maybe Elias will be the one to do it. I don't think it'll be Riddle, to be completely honest. I think there's other competitors for him, but I think he's going to do great, great things putting over the talent on Monday Night Raw.
Definitely agree with you on that. I would love to see him against Gargano. I think they would do great, great things for the Raw division as well.
I would also love to see him against somebody like Baron Corbin, especially now when he has JBL by his side. But I don't know. Let us know. What's your dream match for Seth Rollins for the United States Championship? Let us know in the comments below. And that's all we have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Become a part of the Siblings today. And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much, and see you guys next time.